You make six figures, but you wake up every Monday tired, bloated, and already behind schedule. I'll tell you one thing, it's not because you're lazy. I used to be you, 4.0 GPA, 120K corporate job, tracking my macros, lifting 6 days a week, and still making zero progress in the gym. And again, it's not because you're lazy, it's because the system you're following was built for fitness influencers and not for high performers with a packed calendar. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I simplified my entire fitness routine into 3 numbers so that you can finally stay consistent, get lean, and never have to start over again on Monday. So let me explain to you what's actually happening. Let's look at your life versus that of a fitness influencer. All right. So here we have the daily time allocation. So as you can see, these fitness systems, they're mainly designed for influencers and they don't necessarily scale to executive schedules. So here we have obviously the hours per day. And then on this side, we have the different metrics. So we have training, we have meal prep, recovery, meetings and calls. Orange is fitness influencers, and yellow is corporate executives, people who work 9 to 5 jobs, who obviously are in high performing jobs. They don't have time, as you can see, when it comes to training, meal prep, recovery, and sleep. So they're barely training in the gym. They barely have time to prep their meals. They barely have time for recovery. They're only sleeping about 6 hours per day because they're so busy with work. They're on calls for 6 hours a day as well. And then they're doing email and admin stuff for the rest of the time. So obviously their schedule is compared to a fitness influencer who is in the gym for 2 hours, who's meal prepping for almost 2 hours a day, who's sleeping 8, 9, 10 hours a day because they have so much time to sleep and recover because that is their full-time job. They don't really have any meetings and calls. And then for the most part, they're just doing content creation and a little bit of admin work. So it's fairly chill. So obviously, if both of these people are using the same schedule and one of them is able to spend 2 hours a day in the gym and an hour and a half meal prepping and 8 hours sleeping, obviously they're gonna look very different and they're gonna have two different sets of results. Most fitness advice assumes that you're working 9 to 5. You don't, you're probably working 8 to 7. It assumes that you have 1 hour to cook every single night, which you don't. And it also assumes that you can train 5 to 6 times a week, which also is false. And so even if you're smart, successful, and driven, your body is not going to change because your system doesn't necessarily fit the reality. So the program that you're using, it doesn't fit your current reality. That's why your body's not going to change. And so most execs are spending 6 hours in meetings and calls, 5 hours doing email and admin, barely spending half an hour in the gym every single day. And this really just leaves minimal time for training or meal preps. And when you compare yourself to an influencer who has hours and hours on end every single week to focus on their meal prep and nutrition, it's like this is their job. So they can do this all day, every day. And so this is why you're failing. It's not because you lack discipline. You're failing because your system requires you to be perfect every single day, and you don't have the time for that. And so why most fitness advice doesn't work, even if you're smart, successful, and driven, your body doesn't change because your system does not fit your reality. So here we have, again, another breakdown. This is just like another visual. I like giving you guys lots of different visuals so that you guys can really see what I'm trying to illustrate with my words, and I can really drive the point home. So as you can see, 2/3 of a day for someone who's a corporate executive, for someone who's making 6 figures, who's working a lot, and work is obviously their primary source of income. You know, they have the meetings, they have the work blocks. That takes up 2/3 of their whole day. The rest, they're doing emails and Slacks. They're doing urgent fires that maybe pop up stuff that they have to get rid of quickly, and urgent matters that they need to address. The commute is also a big part of it as well. Client calls, admin. So as you can see, there's not a whole lot of time here for workouts, gyms, nutrition left over, compared to a fitness influencer where they're in the gym, they're in a meal prep, they're filming and editing, they're recovering, stretching, content planning, doing brand collaboration work. So their time is way more free and it's way more diverse and spread out, as you can see. And that's part of the reason why there's such a big discrepancy with society, because you're working a 9 to 5 job and you're looking at all these fitness influencers online and you're looking at their workouts, you're trying to follow their workouts, but you also realize that these guys, they do this full time. You don't have time to do exactly every single thing they are. They can spend 2 hours in the gym. You can't afford that because you got to go to work in the morning. They can spend 2 hours at the gym, then they have 2 hours to meal prep, and then they have 8 hours to sleep. So they're living very different lives. And I think that's the misunderstanding that most people have is that you can't copy these guys. So you need a plan that's going to work for you in your schedule and that fits into your work life, because that's what's most important. It's not about having the best plan. It's more so about having the best plan for your circumstances. And your circumstances is you need something that allows you to actually get into the gym, make progress on a consistent basis, and make sure that you're eating clean 80% of the time instead of 100%, like these fitness influencers. All right, so now that we know a little bit what the problem is, we're going to go into a little bit of my story and my breaking point. So now that we know a little bit more about what the problem is, we're going to go into my breaking point and a little bit more about my story. So I was working a 120K banking job. I was in corporate banking. I worked at RBC, which is the biggest bank in Canada by, I believe, market size. And it's called Royal Bank of Canada, super big. I was in their corporate banking division. So I was working with a lot of clients on a day-to-day basis, working on deals, helping clients, like really big clients, I can't really name because I don't want to get in trouble, get access to capital and get access to credit as well. So that was a lot of what I was doing. So it was a really cool job. I really loved it. I got to meet a lot of people, got to work on my people skills and everything. But at the same time, I was also still trying to make sure that I was staying in really good shape. So I was doing my meal prep every single Sunday. I'd spend every Sunday at meal prep because I know I'm going into the office the next day. And so I'm buying all those containers. I bought a ton of containers from Amazon. I'm like cooking ground beef, I'm cooking chicken, I'm trying to plan everything out. I'm trying to make my veggies in, I'm trying to cook my rice, pasta from having that. And I would meal prep every single Sunday. I'd spend maybe at least 4 or 5 hours doing so. Then I'd also make sure I'm hitting the gym 6 times a week because of how invested I was in social media. There's so many people I wanted to look like, and I wanted to make sure that I was doing every single thing in my power to look good. And the only solution I found to be able to get to a point where I was actually confident when I looked in the mirror was when I was going to the gym 6 times a week. But looking back at it, I would do a lot of things differently looking back. I mean, at the forefront of it, I was still tired every day. I'd wake up super, super tired. I'd wake up inflamed. I'd wake up unmotivated. And I'd crush it from Monday to Thursday. And then whenever the weekends came around, I wasn't necessarily going out, but I wasn't also as disciplined as I should be. So I was eating the wrong foods. I would go out to get cookies, for example. I'm not going to the club. I'm not a guy who goes to the club. I don't go to the bars, but I'll go buy some cookies, for example. I'll drive an hour and a half to go get some really good cookies. Like that's my fault. So that's what I was doing. And I realized it wasn't necessarily a me problem. It was more of an input-output problem. And I just needed a system built for someone who had limited time, high stress, and a really non-negotiable workload. When I was going out of my way to go buy cookies or going out of my way to eat unhealthy foods or skipping the gym, it wasn't because I wanted to. It was more so just because I just felt like I needed a little bit of time for myself, and I wanted to do something nice and kind for myself. I was working so hard at the office. I didn't want to keep killing myself outside of the office and at the gym and, eating the same food every day and kind of being tired of it. So that's what led me to my breaking point. And like I said before, I know I already kind of explained this. I'll just kind of quickly go over this. Like I said, I'd crush it Monday to Thursday. Then I'd go crazy on the weekend. And I was still waking up tired, inflamed, unmotivated. So as you can see, even in this picture, you can literally see my eyes are like, I'm like dead. I'm dead on the inside looking back at this because I was so tired all the time. I literally just looked like this. I was so tired all the time. My eyes were always red. I was in good shape. Yeah. But if you looked at underneath the surface level, you would see that I was really struggling deep down and mentally. And the more time I spent in this fitness industry, the more I realized how important it is to take care of the mental health and to make sure that you're still in the game mentally and not just physically. Because it's super easy to be robotic and just say that, okay, I'm going to the gym. I'm going to go eat. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to do that. But after a while, sometimes your mind, you need to take care of that as well. And you can still go through the motions, but you cannot be fully there mentally. And over time, it just really deteriorates. And it makes it so that you start to create some friction when it comes to working out. The whole purpose why, and the whole reason why you actually do work out in the first place, you start to lose that. And you start to almost like lose your identity when it comes to the gym, when it comes to eating healthy, when it comes to living a healthy lifestyle. And once you lose enough of your identity, it's hard to see the point and it's hard to continue. You don't know why you started. You don't know why you would even want to continue doing so. And so you kind of just fall off. And once you fall off, sometimes if you're fully gone mentally, it's almost impossible to come back. So that's why it's so important to kind of manage this workload and manage this whole stress that you have mentally when it comes to fitness as well as the physical part as well. So this led me to starting over again every single Monday. And so I realized that this wasn't necessarily a me problem. It was more so like an input output problem. And I just needed a system built for someone with limited time, high stress, and a non-negotiable workload. So now when we look at the daily time allocation between fitness influencers and people who work jobs and who are obviously making six figures, so you're working some kind of a high status, high caliber job. And then when I combined my personal story with that, one of the things I came up with was the PCT method. And so we'll go a little bit more into detail with this. So the PCT method is literally just three numbers, and here's how it works. So you have protein, calories burned, and time in the gym. So I'll go into a little bit of detail for each one. So with protein, it's just 1 gram per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 180 pounds, that's 180 grams of protein. And so why is because protein is the only macronutrient that preserves your muscle while you lose fat. And most guys, they undereat this number, especially if they're skipping meals on a consistent basis to maybe do meetings or maybe to work a little bit longer to get a certain deliverable in by a certain time. I know when I was in the office, I could be working, having a really chill day, and then one of my superiors would come to me and be like, hey, just dropped something on my office, and like, I need this back today by 5. And so now that lunch break and those meetings I had at 3:30 and 4, I know that if I go for those, I won't be able to finish this by 5. And obviously I'm trying to, move up the corporate ladder. I'm trying to be in everyone's good books. And I'm trying to obviously make sure I'm saving my career and learning enough. And these were just things that I just had to sacrifice. So either I'm working through lunch or I'm working through times where I was supposed to take care of myself. And specifically when it came to food, not really when it came to like the whole walking and whatever, but more so for lunch. And so even if I got something in the morning, let's say it's 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m., and then someone put something on my desk and they're like, I need this back by 3 p.m. or I need this back by 5 p.m. I might just skip lunch. Why? Just because I just want to make sure I get it done. I'll eat later. And that's how most people think. And so for the most part, most guys who are in the corporate world, they undereat protein. And they especially do this if they're skipping meals for meetings or skipping meals just to work a little bit harder. And at the end of the day, I realized that you don't need to track every single macro. You literally just need to track your protein, because this will have this will give you 80% of the results. The carbs and the fats will give you the other 20%. So if I was you and I was working a busy job and I'm tired all the time and I don't really have the mental stress, energy to be able to track every single little detail every single day of the week while doing your work, while going to the gym consistently, just focus on protein. Because when you focus on protein, this is going to give you 80% of the results. And that will carry you a lot further than doing anything else. And so the next thing is going to be calories burned. So the calories burned are going to be tracked via your daily steps. So your goal is to aim anywhere from like 6,000 to 10,000 steps per day. Why? Because it's predictable, it's measurable, and you can kind of fit this in literally anywhere during your day. So you can walk on calls, you can walk post lunch, and when you do your workouts, you're not technically like burning fat. It's going to be your daily movement that helps you burn fat more. That's what matters more at the end of the day. And so the more you can walk around and do things throughout the day. So this is stuff like maybe if you park your car a little bit further, or if you take the stairs instead of the elevator. All this stuff, if you do it consistently on a day-to-day basis, this is how you burn calories and burn fat over time. It's not just by working out and going to the gym 3, 4, 5 times a week. In a workout, you'll probably only burn, if you're going really hard, maybe 300 calories, 400 calories at best. That's not going to be what's carrying you into getting abs and getting visible abs. It's more so going to be how much movement you have on a day-to-day basis, or how I like to call it, how many calories you burn on a day-to-day basis. The easiest way to burn calories is literally just by walking more. And walking is something that's so easy and so simple to fit in. You can literally fit this in first thing you do when you wake up. You can maybe walk to the station instead of driving there. You can go on a walk break. So every 5 minutes when I was at the office, I stand up, I go stretch my legs. I do a quick lap around the office and I come back and sit down. Something chill. And I would literally spend 2-3 minutes doing so. When I'm going for lunch, I'm walking. After my lunch, I'm going for a walk as well. And I think the biggest hack that really helped me was having walking meetings. So when I was working at RBC in corporate banking, we worked in the office and we also did work from home. So there was never a day where I was in the office that I had less than, I think, 14 or 15,000 steps. And my whole routine was easy. I would make sure that if I'm going into the office that day, I would schedule most of my meetings, but then I would speak with my peers and the people I will be meeting with. And I would suggest, hey, instead of just sitting down at this desk for 45 minutes, because we don't have anything that we're presenting on the computers, what if we just walked during the, walked in the food court area where everyone in the surrounding building goes for food. And so what we would do, we would just walk and talk, and it would be a lot more productive. I'd actually feel engaged because I don't feel like I'm missing out on getting my steps. And then I would be burning calories throughout the day as well. So that's how I got into really, really good shape while working a job as well. And so then the last thing is going to be the time in the gym. So obviously, it's not about how much time you spend in the gym. It's about the quality of the time that you spend in the gym. So with my program, I try to get you in the gym for 3 workouts per week. And so each workout is either between 45 minutes to an hour, and it's either going to be like a full body workout or more of an upper lower split, depending on your goals, of course, and depending on if you're more of a beginner or if you're more on the advanced side of things. And the reason why is just because muscle growth, it's gonna happen from stimulus and recovery, and not just volume. I wrote not volume there, but just not just volume. And more time in the gym is more so like diminishing returns for busy men, because at the end of the day, you don't have all the time in the world. So you just want to maximize the time that you do have. Okay, and after I started using PCT, this were some of my results. So as you can see, I'm here, super shredded. You can see I got the abs, getting the lines on the side, lines on the side. In 6 weeks, I literally lost 13 pounds. So that's a month and 2 weeks. I'm down 13 pounds from 247 to 234. And so I'm still in good shape. Even in this first picture, I'm still in good shape and more in better shape than, a lot of people that go to the gym. But I know that I'm not hitting my true potential. So that's why, I created this method, using it, putting it into action, and I'm showing you that I'm training less, but I'm recovering better, and I'm building muscle faster. And then my energy levels skyrocketed, those improved, and I literally dropped 13 pounds in 6 weeks. And then this is the same thing I've given to all of my clients. So at first, let's just look at this battery. They saw results without sacrificing their work life. So this is one of my clients, Michael. As you can see, absolute killer. He dropped 20 pounds. This is a corporate lawyer based out of Miami, Florida. And he was able to do this while working 10, 12-hour days at the law firm while ordering out for the most part. So I think he ordered out 4 to 5 times per week. And he was able to achieve a physique like this. This is one of my other clients, Fazan. He is a software engineer as well. And he started showing up for himself a little bit more. So he was interesting because he was doing that. He was doing jiu-jitsu. He was training for a half marathon as well. So he had a whole lot of stuff going on. But we were able to help him drop 40 pounds in just about 6 months of working together. Still working with him now, and it's really, really cool to see how much progress he's continued to make. So this is a more updated picture of him. So you can see he's getting even more crazier, even more lines on his abs, and yeah, just looking overall really crazy. And as one of the things in common is that as these clients of mine, they started to show up every single day, their batteries started to charge, and they stopped having to restart everything every single Monday. Now they've started to make a few simple changes to their fitness with the PCT method. So by only tracking their protein, by only tracking their calories burned, and by only tracking their time in the gym, it's made fitness so simple for them to the point where they don't necessarily need to do every single thing else that they're doing before. So they can kind of cut through all the noise and just focus on what actually matters. And they're able to see consistent and sustainable results without having to sacrifice all of their work life. This is another one of my clients, one of my elite clients. His name is Spencer. So we dropped him down 14 pounds in just about a few months as well. And as you can see, getting them crazy shredded when it comes to the abs, and more definition in the chest, more definition in the shoulders as well. You can literally see his shoulders with more definition. So yeah, these are some of the results that some of my clients have had with the PCT method. And so this is what I've used, and I hope now you have a really good understanding of why most 6-figure men fail when it comes to getting in shape and how you can actually go about fixing it. So that's all for this video, guys. I do appreciate you staying till the end and you watching everything all the way through. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Hereâ. I'm the creator of the PCT method as well. I'm also a online fitness coach. So what I do is I help six-figure men just simplify their fitness. Why? Because I was a six-figure man myself. I still am now. And I went through a lot of hardships finding a workout program that actually worked for me and my schedule. And I realized that there's not a whole lot of people that talk about how to make fitness work for people who work a six-figure job. So I'm not talking about the guy who's making 70K a year, who's making 80K a year, who has all the free time in the world and he can kind of goof off while he's at work. You know, he's working from home, but he's not really working. And he's on his phone the whole day, and he doesn't necessarily have any responsibilities. He doesn't have a whole team that he needs to manage. He doesn't have people breathing down his neck trying to get things done, and people that depend on him and count on him, and divisions that count and depend on him to get certain deliverables done. And if they don't, there's serious, legitimate consequences for the business. So I'm not talking about the guy who doesn't have those pressures and those responsibilities, but for the people who do have those responsibilities, for the people who do have all that stuff and they still have a family that they need to come back to, or they still have, you know, responsibilities outside of work that they have to take care of, and they're trying to take care of their fitness as well on top of that, and they're trying to meal prep, and they're trying to sleep on time. I'm talking about those guys, the people who have a crazy hectic life. They got client dinners, they got client deliverables 24/7. They're on the train home from work and they're getting an email or they're getting a text from a client saying that, hey, I need this XYZ. And it's like, oh man, they're already thinking about, okay, what am I going to prepare? What presentation, what slides am I going to prepare as soon as I get home to prepare for tomorrow? And they're thinking about, okay, what can I cut off today? Am I going to be working at the gym today? What am I going to work out at the gym today? Okay, maybe I might just skip today's workout. I'm talking about those guys, the guys who have so much going on in their lives that they just want a way to make fitness so simple and so easy for them that they're able to get results without having to bang their head against the wall, without having to do hours and hours on research of what's going to work for them. I'm talking about those guys. So this is the method that I created. It's super simple. It's literally 3 steps. And if you want to see me live out this method in real life, I'm going to draw my Instagram here below. And then from that, you can actually follow me, keep up with me on my stories. I'll be posting every day as well. So you can kind of see me live out this method in real life. And I'll obviously be posting my client results too on a day-to-day basis, because we got tons of results and tons of testimonials in the community, which I post on my stories every single day. So if you want to see this whole method in action, then be sure to check out my Instagram, give me a follow. If you have any questions as well, don't hesitate to shoot me a DM, and then I'd love to answer any questions that you have. But that's all for me. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and talk soon.